In the previous video, Welcome to the Good Life, I released that for a reason. It's a reprise of a video I did months ago. There was something that I said in that video that I want to expound upon. I also said it in a video where many of you found me for the first time when I spoke about how I was dying inside before I left America. And by the way, those of you who have subscribed to the channel, thank you. Thank you very, very much. It means the world to me, and I won't take that for granted. But in those videos, I mentioned something that I think we need to expound upon and not just let it wash over us as just words. I talked about briefly the abundance of enough. And when I think that when you, if you can just ingest that, if you can internalize that and let it become a part of you, then you will find that when you have enough, and that it is more of a state of mind than it is a state of being, or as much a state of mind as it is a state of being, you will find that scarcity ceases. And so I want to take a walk while I talk about this, and I hope you'll join me. So welcome to the Good Life. I'm Steve. Let's go. You know, when people leave industrialized countries like the United States, where I'm from, we do so for various reasons. We're looking for things like more affordable accommodations, a place we can live and not stress over what it's going to cost us to be there, whether or not we're going to be able to afford it next month. We look for, we look for more inclement weather where we're not shoveling snow, 6 months out of the year. Some of us 9 months. Those of you who live in places like Minnesota or whatever, I don't know why you would settle on a piece of ice, but anyway. But what we find when we get there, where we get to wherever it is we land, is a transformation of peace, dignity, and integrity. Something we weren't getting where we were. Something we didn't feel that we could ever achieve because we never really had enough to obtain it, it seems. You see, in a place like the United States, where I'm from, we're always told that we need to do more because, well, we haven't done enough already. What do they tell us? Well, we don't have enough money. If you don't have 7 figures in the bank, or at least mid to high 6 figures, well, you just don't have enough money. You haven't produced enough. We don't see enough productivity out of you. How many of you have been told that, particularly by your bosses who want you to produce more so they can make more while you still make the same or even less? We're told that, well, you need to get enough insurance. Well, you need to insure your car, your house. You need to insure your health. You need to insure your life. You need to insure the things in your house. You even need to insure your ability to earn money by buying what's it called, disability insurance. Everything has to be insured. So we never have enough of that. We never have enough saved. You're told, well, you need to have 6 months saving, a year's worth of savings, enough in the bank to pay all of your bills in the event you lose your job or your ability to earn income. For whatever reason, you need to have all of that in the bank. I think when the pandemic hit, it was realized that the average American didn't have $400 in the bank to meet or didn't have enough money in the bank to meet a $400 emergency expenditure. I guess you people who are watching from around the world would be a little bit astonished to hear that the people in what is called the richest country in the world don't even have enough money to go to the dentist to get a filling, much less a root canal or a crown or something like that. I did a video on my experience going to the dentist here, what it cost me and that kind of thing, the professionalism I received. And I share with the people that I had to have a crown because this front tooth of mine here, it was a crown from like back in the 90s, right? And I had to get it redone because, well, it outlived its life, right? So I go to get one here, and It cost me like $3,000 total, whatever, something like that. And people are reaching out to me because they say that it's costing them $10, $15, $20,000 to have the same thing done in the U.S. I have a friend here. He comes down to visit this lady every once in a while, and he said, "Yeah, man," he said he had to get a loan because it cost him $19,000 to get a root canal, crown, and all that, implant and crown. But that's the world we live in. They're in the U.S. Oh, and when they get done telling us we don't have enough savings, enough money set aside, we're told, well, you just don't have enough hustle. I mean, my goodness, I'm working an 8-hour job, and then when you get done with the 8-hour job, you're expected to have a side hustle. You got to have a gig, because you wanting to work just 8 hours a day, which should be enough to put a roof over your head and care for yourself and your family. Well, if that's all you want to do, well, there's something wrong with you. You're just lazy. You're a failure. You haven't gotten it done. And while some of that might be true, yeah, we should have more money in savings and that kind of thing, but there's something going on. There's something wrong. I look at the seniors and I look at the young people. I'm down here in the Dominican Republic, and so what's going on back there in the U.S., it's like an echo for me, right? It's like these sounds of what's happening there are still echoing, and I'm hearing them, and what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, on news channels and that kind of thing, is senior citizens living on the street. Yeah, I mean, let me get my phone, get my camera situated. Yeah, living on park benches, being told that you're a burden, you're in the way, you walk too slow, you can't make it up and down the stairs fast enough, right? Get out of the way, old man. I can say that and laugh because, you see, I'm old, and I ain't worried about all that. You can't afford housing if you're a senior, and you for some reason you weren't able to pay off your home, in the 30 requisite years. Who knows what could have happened? Maybe maybe you had a heart attack. I know somebody who had one of those, right? Maybe some other illness caught up to you. Maybe the 2007, 2008 housing market bubble, knocked you out the pocket. For whatever reason, you're there now. And you're told that, well, it's your fault. You did something wrong. But you thought you were doing everything you knew to do because you did everything they told you to do, right? So you're priced out of housing. And then get this. You are then told that you need to stop going to the doctor so much. So this Medicare that we give you, it's not going to be sufficient to pay all of your bills, and we're going to charge you additional premiums because even though we told you that it's going to be enough, it really isn't. And actually, we wish that you just go somewhere and die and get it over with, so we don't have to look at you anymore. So in healthcare, you're made invisible. You're being ignored. And then, I think statistically, somewhere around 50% of you have only your Social Security. And the stats are everywhere. Some say 74%. I don't know. But at least it appears half of you only have your Social Security to live on when you retire. And now you're being told that, well, that's going to be inadequate. You're not going to be able to make it on that. So you're just going to have to come up with something else. Or you can quit one job and then go get another one. And I don't know, maybe be a greeter at Walmart. But that's not what you planned. And then I look at my young people too, people my children's age and my grandchildren who are coming along, working regular jobs. I saw one video of a woman. She's a nurse. She's an RN. She went and got her BSN, so she's an RN. And she can't make enough money to afford a 1-bedroom apartment in the city where she lives, and so she's living in her car. I see other young people, well, old people, they're just on the street. They're sleeping on park benches and at bus stops. But young people, oh yeah, they're getting it done, right? They're renting, what are those things? Storage units. Because they don't have enough. When will we ever have enough? When is it ever enough? You know, we're told that enough is never enough. You never have enough. Why is that? Why are we living in such a state of scarcity that we never really have enough? Many of you have responded to the videos that I put up several weeks and several months ago, and I appreciate that you found them. And I'm going to try to continue to give, excuse me, just real talk and real numbers. You know, the $600 apartment, well, less than that, 5 and change, but whatever, right? The breakdown of my cost of living. I'm just trying to be transparent because I think that's what it takes. I think that sometimes, you know, we try to fluff things over and just, you know, try to be exciting. I'm not an exciting guy. I'm not an excitable guy. So you won't see me doing salacious stuff here on this channel, but I try to cover things. Well, I'm going to try to cover things that make sense, but well, at least they make sense to me. But there's a problem. There is a problem when your entire life feel that you don't have enough, so that life becomes, or so that certain things become adequate. And what kind of things that I'm talking about? I'm talking about just regular things that people should be able to afford in their lives and not feel that, well, they've fallen short somehow. So you follow people like me, people who have taken the leap. And now, we looked before we leaped, okay? So if you're watching this, my channel or others, and thinking that what you want to do is you want to get outside of the U.S. and hopefully find a better life for yourself, I don't blame you. But before you do, look before you leap. I mean, take a good look. Go a few times. Go check it out. What we have found, those of us who have left and are happy with the decision that we've made, we found that peace is affordable. I'm out here, it's what is today? I think it's the 30th or the 31st. I don't even know anymore. But we're right at the end of the year, okay? So I guess by the time you see this, it'll be the first, because I'll upload it tomorrow, I guess. But we found peace. We found that peace is affordable. You know what else we found affordable? Healthcare. Maintaining our health is now affordable. I did a video and I can't find it. Somebody asked me about healthcare, what's it like here in the DR, and I went back because I wanted to give them the link to the video. I did a video and I think I called it "My Shocking Experience with Healthcare in the Dominican Republic," something like that. And I need to find that video. Yeah, we're going. Yeah, I need to find. I thought we weren't recording that for a minute, but I need to find that video, because in that video I shared with you guys my first experience where, and I'll just run through it quick. I got here in April. I went to a doctor like in May or somewhere thereabouts, just to kind of get a baseline, you know, because I think wherever you go, especially when, you know, your situation is such as mine, but to get a baseline. So I got a physical, you know, she did an EKG there in her office. The office visit and everything, you know, for her looking at me and whatever, cost me like less than $30. She wanted to get some more information because I shared with her my chart information, if you're familiar with that app, that, you know, you go to your doctor, to your hospital, and they put all the records in there. So she read through that and she said, well, okay, what I would like for you to do is to go and get, a pergola. I'd like for you to go and get some blood work, your analysis. She pressed on my stomach and she saw me wince, so she said, I want you to get a sonogram, or not a sonogram, is it a sonogram or ultrasound? One of the two, where they put the gel on the thing and they look inside, right? And she said, I also want you to get chest x-rays. So I did that. The very next day, didn't need an appointment, just walked in, got it all done. I think I spent $100 for all of that. And they didn't send the results to the doctor. When I got ready to leave, the young lady said, well, around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, I want you to go and open up. She gave me a QR code. She said, I want you to scan this QR code and there will be all your results, everything. Full panel, lipids and all of that stuff. They check in your blood, you know, they check you for diabetes, the urine analysis, all the results from that, and the ultrasound and all the chest x-rays, all of that. They sent it to me, not my doctor. They don't have HIPAA laws here that tell you can't look at your own records until the doctor sees them first. So I look at the records, or I look at the results, and then I send it to the doctor. And that's how that worked.
And then she looked at it and said, oh yeah, okay, you're fine. Which I already knew because I saw it for myself, and I can read as good as a fifth grader. So yeah, healthcare becomes affordable. You know what else is affordable? Having a community. You know, a lot of people say, and it's true, you know, when you move to another country, it only makes sense that you would go and find a group of locals, natives, that, you know, you can relate to, because they can show you things that you may not understand, and they might be able to get you better prices on stuff, so you don't get gringoed. Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. But you know what else is important? That you have a community of people who understand your journey. And so if you're Canadian, find some more Canadians. If you're from the US, maybe you find a few US citizens that you can, you know, relate to. It's funny that when we are here, when we're outside of that place, that matrix, like some people call it, we are kinder and gentler to one another than we are when we are at home. And that's just an amazing thing. But either way, find some, because you're going to experience some things, some of them, you know, that you're going to appreciate, some that are going to be frustrating, but that's okay. But you're going to find some things that are, well, that are different. And so you can afford to go and enjoy a drink or have lunch or something like that, dinner, dine out with people that you know, people that you meet, people that are in your community. You can afford to be in that community and not stress over what it takes to be there. I guess what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, life itself is affordable, because what you have is enough. You have enough. And there is an abundance in having enough. At least there should be. You see, when in industrialized countries, especially where, well, in the United States where I'm from, you're told that, you know, you should never consider yourself having enough. Enough is never enough. Well, if enough is never enough, when is enough enough? There, at some point, you should be able to take your foot off the gas. You were not meant to live like this or like that. I'm not living like that anymore. But you were not meant to live like that. That is not what you were put on this earth. This earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And he has the cattle on 1,000 hills, and they're all yours to claim. Assuming you're living right. But somehow somebody came along and decided that it all belonged to them, and that in order for you to exist in it, you must pay them all the time. You have to pay them for your home, and you never really get done. Well, once you get done paying for the home, then you are forever paying for the land that the home sits on. You're paying for the food you eat, the gas you put in your car. You pay for this, you pay for that. You even have to pay to work. They charge you a tax when you go to work and earn money, and they charge you for that. Who ever heard of that? Where did that come from? But they want a part of you at every turn. Well, that's not how you were meant to live. I know that's not how you were meant to live, because you are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of our Creator, and that is not what He put you here to do. That is the doctrine of men who put in place laws and that kind of thing. It happened back there in the United States. The indigenous people were there living, enjoying the land, just, you know, move from here to there. It's okay, it's just land. But a certain group of people showed up and said, you know what? We're going to take this, make it ours, and then we're going to charge everybody else. So even though you've already been here, oh, by the way, we're going to kill 10.7 million of you along the way. But then the rest of you, we're going to push them over there. We're going to bring some other people in here to work the land, and everybody's going to pay us just to be on it. Just to be here, just to exist, just to breathe the air, you must pay. It happened here in the Dominican Republic where I am. In 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, remember how they gave us that rhyme when we were in elementary school? Well, he ended up here, right down there in Santo Domingo, about 80 miles south of here. And what he realized is that these people that lived here, the Tainos, people who lived here, that they didn't really have weapons and that kind of thing, because they were just living peaceably on the land. They're basically the same people who lived, or who you, if you go and look at them from like way back then, and even how they kind of dress now, you know, when they put on their their garb from, you know, their heritage, they look the same as the people who were back there in the United States. Those indigenous people probably are the same people. But once Columbus realized that, hey, you know what? These people don't have any weapons. They don't recognize borders. Here's what we can do. He said, Queen Elizabeth, or whatever her name was, Isabella, I think is what her name was, give me a few men and some weapons, and we can conquer it. And that's what they did. And they killed almost all the men and took advantage of all the women, and that's why you have people looking the way they do. And I think I saw something that said that only 8% of their DNA still exists with their original DNA, or exists within them still, because they just ran roughshod over the people and annihilated all the men. But that's not what I came here for. I came here for the abundance of enough. You had enough in the first place. You always had enough. The enough is already in you. And there's an abundance in that. You see, what has happened is that a certain mindset of scarcity has crept in. And where did it come from? There's a guy, I can't remember his name. I think his first name was Steven. He was a YouTuber from years ago. I don't know if he's still on YouTube now. I don't remember his last name, so I can't go and search him. But his first name was Steven. White guy from Canada. And he was talking once in one of his videos about why he believes that his people are the way that they are. He went back into the history and he said, well, where I come from, him, speaking of himself, where he came from, well, there was a mindset of scarcity. Because if think back 100 years ago, 150, 200, 300 years ago, if you lived in a place like Finland, Norway, Sweden, Germany, it's a sheet of ice. 9 months out of the year, you can't grow anything. And so there was always a scarcity of food. And if you want to see people fight over something, take away the food and watch them go after it. It's a little noisy out here with motorcycles and that kind of stuff, and I hope that doesn't interfere too much. But he said that they developed this mindset of scarcity, and now they take it everywhere they go, and that's why you see current modern industrialized countries shaped and formed operating the way that they do. Because there is this zero, what is that? Zero, I can't think of the word right now. But anyway, if you have it, then I must be losing something. And if I have it, well, that's because I took it from you, and I'm going to make sure that you don't have any. Zero-sum mindset, zero-sum game mindset is what they have. And so that you can't have anything unless I'm hurt by it. And so if I see you with something, I'm going to come and get it from you. And so that's why you ever watch that show Vikings? You know how they would just go raid and take stuff from other people because, well, that's just the way they are, or the way they were back in those days. That's the same mindset that has created the system that you live in now. And so you are of the belief that you must go out and remember the previous video, I talked about how you're chasing dollars because there's people chasing you for dollars, and there's this scarcity of assets, this scarcity of resources in your mind. But my people, you see, if you can't tell by now, I am of African descent. And my people, they didn't have that mindset. And so when the Europeans showed up on the shore, and when they showed up here as well, nobody was thinking like that. Everybody had what they needed. My ancestors, they could walk through the jungles of Judah, the kingdom of Judah. Some of you will know what I'm talking about. But they could walk through the kingdom of Judah and pick fruits off of the tree. There was always animals about, because why? The weather was warm. There was no ice. There was no ice, and so there was always abundance. And so we had that mindset of abundance. I want you to get back to that mindset now. You don't have to be, you don't have to embrace scarcity. And here's why I say that. Well, I mean, you can if you want, but you shouldn't embrace scarcity, because at the foundation of scarcity, at the root of it, is fear. Fear of loss. Fear that if you have an apple, then I won't have an apple. So I lose an opportunity to eat. Fear, if you have money, then you must have taken it from me. And so now I must war against you to get what you have and put it in my pocket. Fear of losing my health. And so now I must struggle to pay for something called health insurance so that when I am sick and disabled or whatever, I can afford to have someone give me a care for me because, well, otherwise I could die. Fear of losing my life. And so now I must buy life insurance to at least get me in the ground because, well, we made that a multi-billion-dollar industry where people get rich on taking care of dead folk. What are we doing? Listen, you are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of the Creator. And He did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And that's all He gave you. There is no fear in that. You ever see little children, little toddlers and infants, how they will share things? It doesn't matter what nationality they are. If they're Asian or Hispanic, if they're Negro or Caucasian, if they're Arab, if they're Pacific Islander, it doesn't matter. Because they have not been given that spirit of fear and that idea of scarcity. Because in their mind, everything is there. It's just there. It's abundant. And so the little child will give his candy bar or whatever to the other child because he figures he can get another one. Mommy, where's my next candy bar? Or where's my next cookie? I gave Tommy the one I had, so give it to me, right? They don't have that mindset, that thought of scarcity, that something's going to run out. But you have enough. And if you can get that into your minds, if you can embrace that and internalize that, I think something will change in you. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't discount or mitigate or ignore the idea that you need money to make it. I'm not going to pretend that this isn't about money. Certainly it is about money because that's the world that we live in. And so let's not be naive, right? But a lot of you are never going to get rich. This thing is made in a pyramid for a reason because a certain few people are going to be at the top. And what they did with this mindset of scarcity being implanted in you is part of the programming that you're always clamoring over one another to get to that higher rung, that higher level. But as you get up there are only a few spaces left. But they left that glass ceiling there so that you can look up through it and think that at some point you're going to break through. You're going to break through. And what do? Some of you die trying to get there when all you needed was not more. You didn't need more hustle. You didn't need more productivity. You didn't need really more savings. You had enough. All you needed was a change of your environment. Change your location. Go someplace where what you have is enough. Now, don't get me wrong. And don't take this the wrong way. Because you can get on a plane and go somewhere with your euros or your Canadian dollars or your US dollars, don't think that you've done something, okay? Because really all you really did was get on the plane. You got on a plane in one location, you got off in another, and voila. So when we get to wherever we're going, let's not act all brand new, okay? Let's not do that. Let's maintain a spirit of humility and an attitude of gratitude. Let's give thanks for what we have and our ability to make the decision and have the wherewithal financially to do so, to get out of the situation that we are in. That's all I want to share with you guys today. Embrace and find a place where enough equals abundance and scarcity is no longer a part of your makeup because you deserve better. So listen, if you don't decide to leave, if you decide to stay there in the U.S. or Canada or Mozambique, what's up, my sister? If you decide to stay in England or any other part of Europe, wherever you are, that's okay. if you decide to get up and leave and go someplace else. It doesn't matter. Find it wherever you are, and you'll be okay because it's your life. So make it a good one. Thanks for joining me, and until next time.